What better way to debrief my run by telling you 5 big mistakes that I made when I first started running. Hopefully these are mistakes that you can avoid. If you've made them, that's okay. We learn from them. My goal in life is just to teach people to not make the same mistakes or not have to do the same mistakes that I did so that they can get to their goals a lot faster. So starting at number 1, I tried to beat my times every single week. So or even every time I went for a run, I would try to beat my time and get even faster. And yes, that might work for the first few weeks or a little bit while you're running, but eventually you'll plateau. And also, you're not meant to be smashing yourself every single run. You've got to have those easy runs, those speed runs. You've got to have a mix, a variety. So we're not constantly, operating up here, because that's just a heap of added stress on the body. And also running isn't like weight training where you're adding weight to the bar, you're doing more reps, things like that almost every week or every second week, or when you get more advanced, every few months and whatnot. Running, especially when you start to max out your true speed and stuff, it does take a lot longer to progress. Unfortunately, that cardiovascular system is harder to work on in comparison to weights. As someone who's come from a strength background, I found it so much easier to get stronger than getting faster and becoming a better runner. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it and it's not going to happen fast. It's just that, everyone's journey is different and you just have to stick to it and trust the process, and you'll definitely get faster along the way. Number 2 is that I cut out strength training. It was crazy. I had a coach at the time who told me I needed to lose muscle and just completely cut out strength training. So I was only doing body weight strength work, and I ended up getting a worse body composition. I gained weight and I just had a really poor sense of self, and it honestly impacted my running as well. I was struggling, my hips, I got so many niggles. So I highly recommend stick to a strength training program. You need it. It's not going to make you bulky. It's not going to make you slower. In fact, it's going to give you that longevity in the sport. It's going to help you overcome if you do get injured. Like, I can't promise you that you're not going to get injured through strength training, and anyone who says that anything is bulletproofing you or preventing injury, it's impossible to completely prevent injury. They just happen, like life happens, we're not robots. But it's going to allow you to come back from injuries, just to make you so much more robust, powerful, strong, and that you can endure really hard things. And if you're not sure where to start, I have the program for you, the Strong Runner Lifting Club. You can sign up and get a free week trial. We've got 3 to 4 gym sessions each week, and it's got all your athletic bases from strength, power, mobility, and everything in between. And if you don't know where to start, honestly, hit the link in bio, because you are going to be absolutely smashing it. The third mistake I made is that I started to only do easy runs. So once I realized, okay, I can't be running fast all the time, I went to the other extreme of just doing easy runs, and that didn't help me, because if you want to get faster, you have to run fast at certain times. You do need that speed training. Otherwise, your body doesn't know what it's like to run fast. So, if you want to run a 5K in 25 minutes, that's basically 5 minute per kilometer pace. If your body hasn't experienced a 5 minute kilometer pace, how is it meant to run that? So you do need to put some sort of speed training into your sessions, whether you're doing fartlek, different types of intervals, sprints. Honestly, there are so many different types of speed training that you can incorporate. Just don't overdo it. So you want to find that nice balance. You want to be able to do that easy base work as well as have some speed work to get the legs ticking over. And that's all part of a great running program. Number 4 is that my nutrition was absolutely crap. A lot of my running training, when I first started, I didn't eat beforehand, and I really underfueled myself. Even on long runs, I wasn't eating enough during long runs, and it just set me up for feeling extremely sore, really down on myself after the runs. I'd feel absolutely broken. And honestly, I felt like I'd aged like 10 years after a run, because my joints were so sore, especially on those long runs. I was just feeling so exhausted, underfueled. And especially for female athletes, it's so important that we fuel ourselves before training. Yes, I might get a few comments where, people are going to be like, oh, but I feel sick, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you need to train your gut to handle food before training. You got to wake up earlier. You got to do something that's going to allow you to get some sort of nutrition in. So you can even start with half a banana, something small. I'm not saying that you need to eat a big breakfast or a big meal before you train, but you do need to fuel yourself. And honestly, I have become such a better athlete. My body composition's better as well because I'm not binging and all that stuff. So I highly recommend starting to really focus on your nutrition, making sure that you're fueling yourself properly, because you have so much potential and nutrition might be one of your downfalls. And last but not least, number 5 is that I tried to build my running volume way too fast, way too soon. So I was going from 5Ks all the way to half marathons within a matter of weeks. It was crazy. It got to a point where I was running a half marathon every single weekend at a tempo pace and absolutely thrashing myself, which is why I got injured. It's why my hips, my knees, I got plantar fasciitis, a Taylor's bunion. I had all these things in this first season of me running, and it's all because I just absolutely smashed myself trying to get as much running in, as much speed in, and yeah, it was a mess. Generally, the rule of thumb is not to increase more than 10% of your running volume each week. And obviously it gets to a point where if you keep adding 10% each week, it's going to be a bit unsustainable. So generally what I do with my clients is I get them 10% each week for 4 weeks, and then we deload and then go again. There are so many different ways that you can go about it as well. And generally my clients tend to deload themselves because they might feel just really tired one week, so they'll do less. So it's just up to you, but make sure that you're not doing anything more than 10% each week, and just trust yourself. So if there's a day where you're just feeling exhausted and you can't go out for that long run or do a really hard session, pull back. Like, do the warm up, see how you feel, but don't go through the whole session because you might end up injuring yourself. So they are my 5 biggest mistakes that I made when I first started running, and hopefully you haven't made them yet. If you have, that's so fine. You can learn from it and you can become such a better person, a better athlete now that you know. I'd love to hear what your biggest mistakes were. If you have any that I didn't mention, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear. Have a great rest of your week and chat to you soon.